Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on computer software. You know, the invisible force that powers literally everything you do on your phone, your laptop, all of it. So I want you to think of your computer less like a machine and more like a bustling digital city. And today, we're going to be its urban planners. You do this every single day, right? You interact with this city. You visit different buildings, you use different services, and you zip through its streets with just a simple click or a swipe. But have you ever stopped to wonder how this city is actually built? What are all the hidden systems that keep the lights on and make sure the traffic is flowing? Well, that is exactly what we are going to map out today.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to start with the buildings you actually use every day. That's your application software. Then we're going to go underground and explore the system software, the city's hidden infrastructure. After that, we'll meet the utility software, which is kind of like our maintenance crew. And finally, we'll take a look at the different ways these digital cities are actually planned and owned.
Okay, first up, application software. These are the places you know you're going to in your digital city. They're the storefronts, the offices, the movie theaters, all the destinations where you go to get specific things done.
So here's the key takeaway. Application software, or apps as we all call them, are specialists. A spreadsheet app, its whole job is to crunch numbers. A web browser is built to, browse the web. Each and every program has a single, focused purpose, and it's designed specifically for you, the person using it.
So let's start our tour in one of the biggest parts of town, the Business and Productivity District. These are the tools that help us all get organized, create things, and manage our work.
Oh yeah, you know these buildings for sure. You've got your word processors like Word and Docs for writing stuff up, your spreadsheets like Excel for keeping all your data organized, presentation tools like PowerPoint, and even these really cool project management platforms like Trello that help whole teams coordinate massive projects.
But hey, it's not all work and no play in this city, right? Our digital city also has these amazing, thriving creative studios and communication hubs. This is where we go to make art and, of course, connect with each other.
And this is where you'll find the heavy hitters, like image editors like Photoshop, video tools like Premiere Pro, and the city's post offices, email clients like Outlook. And of course you have the bustling cafes of instant messaging, like WhatsApp, and the massive superhighways of web browsers like Chrome and Safari that let us travel literally anywhere online. Okay, so we've seen all the cool buildings, but what's powering them? What's managing the electricity, the water, the roads? Well, that, my friends, is where system software comes in. It's the essential invisible foundation that nobody ever really sees, but without it, the entire city would just collapse. You see, system software is basically the ultimate middleman. It's the bridge that connects the physical hardware, the actual silicon and circuits, and all those apps we were just talking about. The moment you press that power button, this is the very first thing to wake up. It's a process we call booting. And this slide, it just lays out the difference so clearly. System software, its job is to run the computer itself. It's the foundation. Application software, on the other hand, runs for you, so you can do something specific. It's the building you put on top of that foundation. One is for general purpose, the other is super specialized. Now, this foundational layer isn't just one big block. It's actually made up of a few key components. You've got the operating system, which is kind of the master controller. Then there are language processors, which are like the city's official translators. And finally, device drivers, who are the specialized technicians. The operating system, or OS, yep, that's your Windows, your Mac OS, your Android. It is the absolute boss. It manages your computer's memory, it decides which tasks get priority, it handles all your files. It's basically the city government and the power company all rolled into one, just making sure every other piece of software gets what it needs to run properly. So this brings up a really fascinating question. We humans, we write software in languages like Java or C++, and they kind of look a little bit like English. But the computer hardware, it only understands binary, the language of ones and zeros. So how do we bridge that communication gap?
And boom, here's the solution: language processors. So developers write what's called source code. Then a special program, a compiler or an interpreter, acts as a translator. It takes that human-readable code and converts it into object code, the pure binary that the machine's hardware can actually understand and execute. Pretty cool, right?
And finally, what about all the stuff you plug into your computer? Your printer, your webcam? Well, each one of those needs its own device driver.
It's a tiny piece of software that's basically an instruction manual, a little specialist technician that tells the operating system exactly how to talk to and control that specific piece of hardware.
All right, so every great city needs a crew to keep it safe, to keep it clean, and to keep it running smoothly. In our digital city, that role is filled by utility software. These are the programs that handle all the essential maintenance and security jobs.
Think of it like this. Antivirus software is your police force, protecting you against threats. Disk cleanup tools, they're the sanitation department, clearing out all the clutter and junk files to free up space. Backup software is like the city archive, making sure no important data ever gets lost. Password managers are the master locksmiths, keeping all your accounts safe, and firewalls are the border patrol, monitoring all the traffic coming in and out.
So we've got our buildings and we've got our infrastructure, but who gets to build them and who actually owns them? Well, this brings us to our final section, the different models for how software is created, distributed, and even paid for.
This chart breaks it all down perfectly. First up, you have proprietary software. That's your private skyscraper. Think Microsoft Windows. You pay for a license, you get a polished product, but the blueprints are kept secret. Then you've got open source, which is like the community park. It's free, the source code is available to everybody, and that just fuels incredible innovation from developers all over the world. Next is freeware, which is kind of like a free museum. It's great to use at no cost, but you can't go in and change the exhibits. And finally, there's shareware. That's like getting free samples at a store. It's a chance to try before you buy.
So after our whole tour of this digital city, we come back to this simple but really powerful definition. From the deepest foundations of the operating system all the way to the gleaming apps on your home screen, it's all just a collection of instructions, all working together to turn a piece of hardware into an incredible tool. And that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. We've seen the different models, everything from private skyscrapers to public parks built by a global community. As more and more of our world is constructed from software, the question of who owns and who controls that code, well, it becomes more important than ever. So what do you think is the best way forward?